Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Chocolate Beauty. Today we're going to be talking about Basketball Wives. I had my reservations of even addressing this latest episode because it was so triggering for me. I just felt some type of way about it, but we're going to get into it, and I just wanted to make sure that I calm down and I can just give you my perspective of what's going on without being so emotionally charged, because this episode was very triggering for me. The episode opens up with Christian and Malaysia trying to get OG to admit or to validate how the way OG felt about what was going on last season pertaining to racism and colorism. They were trying so hard to have her admit and say, well, you know what? Maybe it was something else. Maybe it wasn't colorism. Maybe it was that the women didn't like me. So the fact that they kept trying to get her to say, that's not what happened. You know what? You're right. I am wrong with how the way I felt. You know, what I experienced, on the show wasn't actually real, which was crazy. Malaysia asked her to explain what she actually has said about her in the past and what kind of colorist or racist remarks has she's ever said about her. And, OG brought up that she had said one monkey doesn't stop one show. Coincidentally, it was right after Evelyn had put out the monkey emoji that was allegedly talking about OG. This was kind of suspicious. And Malaysia said that it was about somebody else, and it's kind of hard to believe that it was about somebody else because of the timing. You guys just have horrible timing to saying certain things, and I just don't necessarily believe that Malaysia was being honest at that moment, that she was talking about her. But it is a possibility that there was something that was going on with her and this guy that she was allegedly breaking up with. So that can be a possibility. I don't know. OG saying that she believes that the group has a colorist issue. Now, when somebody says that the group has a colorist issue, they're a part of that group. So she's not isolating herself. And it's like these women just only pay attention to what they want to hear. And the only thing that they heard was, oh, everybody else is a colorist. That's not what she said. OG said the group has a colorist issue. And the fact that you keep on saying that she is pinpointing you and calling you a colorist, you directly, she is saying no, the whole entire group as a whole has a colorist issue. What part of that don't you girls understand? They just take her words and just twist it. And it really irritates me because it's just like, listen to what she's saying. You're only partially listening to what she's saying. And the truth of the matter is that y'all don't really care about how the way she feels. So Christian saying that maybe OG is, putting her situation and she's just putting it in a bubble. And maybe, in her bubble, she feels that colorism and racism is a very real thing on the cast, but it's actually only in her bubble. Christian, I need you to shut up and stop belittling her feelings. And that's the problem that I have with you. At the end of the day, you can't not say to somebody, I didn't make you feel that way. Even if they misinterpret what you have said to them, you cannot tell them at that moment, how to feel. I'm pretty sure that you have been in situations where you're talking to somebody and they said something on the slide and you took it the wrong way, but they meant no offense about it. And even if you were to talk about it and clear it up and you realize that it was something else, you still cannot take away about how the way you felt in the moment when somebody has said that, made that side remark to you. You can't take away the way that you felt at that moment. That's how the way you felt. So I need you guys to just come down to being normal human beings when it comes to the concept of understanding that even if you feel in your heart that somebody is not, somebody misinterpret whatever is going on in that situation, you can't say that that's not how they felt in that moment. And that's the problem that I have with you ladies. You want to invalidate her feelings, and you also want her to admit that she was wrong with her assessment. You can paint her in a certain picture, right? She's aggressive, she's violent, she's rude, she's, all these things. You can have that picture about her, but you want OG to sit there and say, I'm going to take away the way I feel and invalidate myself and validate y'all and y'all feelings. Do you know how stupid you sound? And you know how racist that actually is? That's what we go through in our community. Whenever something happens to us, if somebody gets shot, if somebody gets killed, minding their business, all of a sudden everything that they've done in the past or something that, that paints them in a bad picture, it invalidates the reasoning of why they were shot. Okay, well, they had a bad school record. They always got in fights into school. What can I say? This person was shot and killed for no reason, but because they have these other issues going on, that makes it perfectly okay to shoot and kill them. That's exactly how the way that you sound. Shaunie using the whole pandemic thing, like she's trying to get away from the pandemic life. She was trying to get away and be around the sisterhood. Child, you were there to clear your name. That was the whole entire purpose for this season. You wanted to clear your name. You wanted to clear Evelyn's name. And you want OG to admit that she was wrong with her assessment, so Evelyn can win her judgment against OG. Because if OG says, well, it wasn't true, what is that going to do for OG? Evelyn is still suing her. Don't act like you came in for anything else but to really clear your name. And I'm going to prove that point later on. At this point, Nia and her sister, her name, I don't even know. I can't even think of her name off the top of my head. That's how relevant I feel that she is. Her and her sister talking about OG as a person, and first of all, y'all gang up on her. Why do you need two of you to have a conversation with OG and you not scared? You're not scared, but you need each other to back each other up. And then we find out these sisters actually know OG and had a conversation with OG and tried to get on the show pertaining to Phoebe. OG dropped the receipts proving that these girls reached out to her to try to get on the show. The fact that she wants to bring you guys onto the platform to have a conversation or to spill some tea on the reunion doesn't make any sense. So Nia's saying, I wasn't going to be a pawn, for OG, and I wasn't going to be a clown. Here's the thing though, we're very much both of those things. Number one, you're a pawn for Shaunie O'Neal, and you're a pawn for the franchise, because Phoebe wasn't there for you to argue, so you had to make some type of storyline by engaging and having conflict with OG. And because of your prior history and her turning you down, you already have issues against her. You already feel some type of way. So switching gears and switching your energy towards OG wasn't a problem because you already had issues with her. So stop it. And number two, you're a clown because you came on the show for Phoebe, out of all people. How are you not a clown for doing that? Phoebe is not even there. She is the most irrelevant cast member on the show. And yet you are there because you dated her ex. So yeah, you're a pawn and a clown. Just not for OG, but for everybody else. And the thing about it is that I said this so many times during my reviews on this season of Basketball Wives that Jackie Christie is not OG's friend. Jackie Christie is not OG's friend. Jackie Christie is not OG's friends. She can do all the fake sis, all the fake a friend. She can miss me with all that. Jackie Christie wasn't her true friend. And the fact that she is going with this conversation that now she's calling her a colorist. Let's be clear, Jackie. just 3 seasons ago, that was the very argument that Evelyn Lozada had against you and your daughter. Your daughter came on national television and said that you had a problem with the fact that she was so dark and she had a speech impairment. So don't even act like this whole colorist conversation is brand new to you, Jackie. Evelyn Lozada, who was so shocked that OG said that the whole entire group has a colorist issue. So anyway, let's talk about this whole situation about colorism and why I actually can understand where OG is coming from. You got to understand that whenever you actually sit down and sit amongst a group and somebody says a colorist or a racist thing about another person, and you sit there and you laugh and you are or you don't say anything, you are a part of the problem. So you may not be necessarily a colorist, but you do not mind having people around you that are colorists, which makes you have a colorist issue. Do you guys get my drift? I mean, it's simple. It's simple. If you're silent during the times that somebody is making jokes about somebody's skin, somebody's look, how the way that, they present themselves, calling them ugly, all these things, you are a part of the problem. So that's why she was saying everybody has an issue, because I mean, even OG has made claims of people doing things to their skin. That's colorist as well. And that's why she said everybody in the group has participated in the issue of colorism. Her saying that Evelyn is not black, that's a form of colorism. Yes. And that's why she didn't exclude herself from the group. But you guys have this thing that you just won't acknowledge the fact that you guys have done this too. You want OG to admit to the things that she has said. You want her to admit for the things that she has done. And not take any type of responsibility for the things that you say. And then every single time it is brought up, oh, it wasn't that, it wasn't this, but you said this, and you said that. You don't take no accountability for yourself, but you want OG to take accountability for the things that she says. Y'all are unreasonable and unrealistic. Just tired of y'all. I'm tired. Unrealistic. And that's what happens a lot to people who stand up for themselves. Let me tell you something. If you ever been bullied and you get to the point where you start bullying people back and you happen to be my complexion, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be the person who is going to be the antagonizer. Everything is going to get flipped and you're the bad guy. It always ends that way. Y'all did a whole bunch of stuff before y'all even met her. Y'all was talking about her behind the scenes. And you talking about somebody's appearance. Yes, it's saying that you said everything, Malaysia. You said everything outside of saying that she was ugly. It'll look at her hair. It'll look at her side boobs, her boob sag. It'll look at this, look at that. You're targeting her and going down the line of the way that she looks and her appearance. You can't take accountability for that. The fact that these sisters feels that they have the right to have a conversation or to talk about OG or to say these things about OG, and they only been there for 48 hours. Tell me your point. Tell me your point. You have none. When Malaysia and Christian gets back, they tell the ladies what happened. And of course, Malaysia says if you can't get along with strangers, then more than likely you can't get along with anybody. They're not strangers though. That's the thing. They're not strangers. And you know that because everybody knows about the storyline that they're going to be participating in. So you already knew that they weren't strangers. You already knew that there was a plot. You wanted to discredit her. You wanted to invalidate her feelings. Jackie, you sounded like the most stupidest person saying that, can you admit that there's no colorism amongst that group, but I'm not taking away from how the way that you feel. That's exactly what you're doing. Having her admit that that didn't happen is saying that she didn't experience what she experienced. Therefore, her feelings wasn't necessarily true. That whole entire scene, because hold on, because I got something for you guys. Because I want to prove a point. Because I've been saying from day one, this whole season was dedicated to make OG look bad. This whole season was set up to discredit how the way that she feels. And I'm about to play you something because Shaunie O'Neal, aka producer, the cowardly producer, said it out her own mouth and admitted that she set up this whole thing about OG without realizing that's what she did. Let me play this. Hold on.
Been concerned and disturbed due to her publicly making us a racist and a colorist, which we are not. We said a lot of stuff. We made a lot of mistakes, done stuff, but we know each other, right? This is 11 years. I mean, damn near 20 with Evelyn. I've damn near known you 20. If I favor my friend, yep, I did. I've known her. I know who she is. I would talk to OG if I knew that she was open-minded about it, and there would be some concessions and some accountability on both our parts. Because I have no problem saying if I'm wrong. When I'm wrong,
lies.
And that's what it is. But tell me what happened. Tell me what I did. Like, if this is about last year's BS, then let's sit down and discuss it. And I haven't gotten that ever. I don't have a moment to give her.
Let's be clear, Shaunie. You never had any intentions to give her a moment unless she admitted that she did not experience colorism and racism on the show. So stop the lying. You are a coward. You are a coward. I don't even know how else to say it. You had no intentions in having a conversation until OG admitted that what she was saying was wrong. You just said it yourself. You were disturbed about the fact that she has publicly called you guys colorists, called you guys racist. You said it out your own mouth. And you want to have a conversation with her. When did you open the door to have a conversation with her, Shaunie? You did not. You sent other people to have a conversation with her. And then when you realized that she wasn't budging for them, you wasn't going to give her no time. You had no intentions of ever having a conversation with OG about how the way that she felt, unless she invalidate her feelings, and then you could move forward. You think anybody is stupid, Shaunie? Because that's exactly what you were trying to do. It is so draining and it's so disheartening to watch, knowing that these women had every intention to make one person invalid or discredit one person. You put a whole season together to try to make the storyline that OG is a liar. You had no intention of giving her a moment. Your whole reasoning behind doing this season was because you did not want that narrative that you are a colorist and a racist. You are trying to clear you and Evelyn's name because you two guys are a package. You protected her. See, the thing about it is that if Shaunie would have just stayed in the lane of producer and not got involved with Evelyn and OG's situation, she wouldn't be a part of the conversation. But because you decided that you wanted to protect your friend, you went out your way and inserted yourself in this issue. Now it's coming to bite you in the behind now. Now it's playing against you. Before, nobody could associate any type of issues that they had with anybody when it came to Evelyn outside of Jennifer. When you decided to tell Evelyn that she was talking about her child and saying all these things about her while she was in Miami. So that really goes to show that you really just care about self-preservation, but you have no choice but to bring Evelyn within this mix because you decided to protect her because of the situation with OG. You didn't like her personality. You didn't like the fact that how the way that she talked. And I want to say this. I have a lot of African friends, right? I have a lot of African friends, and their viewpoints on colorism and how the way that they speak and the certain language that they use when they're talking to their children is just different from how the way Americans speak to their children. So one word, like the N word. Now, people who are African do not like that word. They don't even like it if somebody else of the same color calls them that. They find that disrespectful. Anything associating with their skin color or that's using in the derogatory by another group of people, they don't like that language within the Black community. So this is not something new. She was raised in an African home. Like saying things like get your black behind or black whatever, self up out of bed. That's discrimination to them. When you associate color with an action word, they do not like that. They don't like you referring them to the N word. They don't like any association when it comes to their complexion and who they are and the fact that they're Black. They don't like that in a conversation. They deem it inappropriate. So the fact of the matter is that you guys are not really understanding where OG is coming from. OG was raised in an African home. There is certain ethics and certain values that Africans have that's different from Black Americans. They don't tolerate vulgar language. They just don't. You guys saying she may be overboard? She's not being overboard. That's how the way that she was more than likely raised. Africans, I tell you, all my African friends, they don't play that stuff. They don't like being called B word. They don't like being called the N word. They don't like you saying black this and they don't do the racist jokes or like other people of color using the racist jokes. They don't find it funny. They find it quite offensive. So the fact that you can't understand that it is more than likely a cultural thing and why she's saying these things, but you didn't take enough time to really educate yourself on Africans who migrated from Africa to the United States, or people who raised their families in African tradition. You have to understand that respect is everything to the African community. And that's what you guys are not getting. She's saying saying get your black behind in bed or take your black A in the bed. That's not something that's far-fetched. If you have African friends, if you understand their culture, that's a colorist statement to them. Calling them the N-word is a colorist statement. So the fact that they're just refusing to really understanding that this is more than likely a cultural thing, more than anything. When Christian said the girls were done talking to OG, when she was talking to Jackie, well, first of all, talking to OG should have been done with the executive producer. Even if she didn't have a conversation with Evelyn, it is still an issue that the executive producer doesn't engage or have a conversation with somebody when they're trying to clear their name. The issue is that OG is not going to back down from the way that she feels. She's not going to give into the fact that you actually participated and laughed and carried on on this conversation, she's not going to give you what you want. And Shawnee's whole purpose was to discredit OG from the start. Now she got everybody in the house looking at her crazy. Jennifer, you know what? I'm not giving you no airtime this week. I'm not. So, OG, you calling Jackie your friend or Jackie calling you sis, this was the very moment that you knew that this girl wasn't your sis.
I don't know what you want me to do. I heard the hurt in her voice. She wants to fix it, and she doesn't understand.
This is it right here.
OG, I'm asking you, as my sis, are you willing to admit that maybe the choice of words of colorism, the choice of words of anything being racial in our group, that could have not been the case?
I rest my case. She has never been your friend. Never been your friend. And then she gets aggressive.
And it is stupid. And it's over. We gonna figure it out tonight or it's done. Jackie. Yes. Did I not say I was open to talk? They don't want to hear any more conversation. Well, everybody is like, God damn it, no. It ain't no colorism here. It ain't been no colorism here. Okay. And it's done.
So when your so-called friend refused to discredit herself, you went off. I tell you, these women are a piece of work. You guys are a piece of work. And I don't even understand why people are even saying some of the things that they're saying publicly. Like, OG is just can't separate from being called ugly to a colorist statement. Some of the things that they had said themselves would not be even considered or thought of anything but those things if it was another group of people. If it was somebody outside of the Black community, they would have been called racist. They would have been called colorist. They would have been canceled. And the fact that you think that you can have this conversation because you're in the Black community. No, certain things is not acceptable. You may not find OG attractive. You have every right to feel that OG is not attractive. That is your opinion. But that doesn't take away the fact that what they were saying is what other people outside of our race say about us when they're trying to degrade us. She's an angry Black woman. She's an aggressive Black woman. She's a mad Black woman. Those are the labels that you guys gave her without necessarily always saying it. Isn't that what other people in outside our community do to us? You guys can't pick your privilege. Okay? We're tired as a community for other people using their privilege to get what they want. It's time for people inside our own community to stop using certain privileges that they got because they're lighter or because they're pretty. And, they might say, everybody in the collective is not a colorist. If you laughed, if you engaged in conversation, or if you said nothing during the time when somebody was saying something that is used to racially discriminate against a Black person outside of our community, you participated in a colorist act. You don't mind being around a colorist. You don't mind people engaging in colorist conversations around you. So what does that make you? You have a colorist issue because you don't feel that those conversations is an issue. I mean, my God, it's like, okay, well, we didn't say this and we didn't say that. It's just like, don't you know how to put 2 and 2 together? Put 2 and 2 together. It equals 4. Not 3, not 2, not 1, not 0. It equals 4. And if it's not okay for somebody outside of our race to say to us, why does it make it okay that we say it to each other? And why is it a problem that you might find a person that has a problem using that vocabulary or that language, or they have a problem with somebody speaking to them in that form of fashion? There's nothing wrong with that. Shawnee, the whole purpose of you doing this season was to clear your name. You admitted it on camera, and you are a coward. And of course, Evelyn follows behind you and leaves as well because you are her protection. Evelyn is going to hold on to you for dear life, Shawnee, because this is happening because she decided to come onto your show. And having somebody like her brought you great ratings. So she's going to hold on to you to dear life. You had no way out, Shawnee. And I'm so glad that OG decided to stand her ground and say, no, I'm just not, no, no, I'm not going to sit up here and act like it wasn't an issue for me. This happened to me. And you're not going to have me sit up here and try to force me or bully me into saying that it was anything but that. She don't like the good sisters. So what? Those ladies haven't been there for 48 hours. They have history. And then everybody's talking about, oh, OG is calculating. So is everybody else. What is the difference in between you setting up a whole season to try to clear your name? Isn't that calculating? Isn't you sending people and creating a whole storyline to try to invalidate somebody's feelings calculating? It's a very good thing that OG is very calculating, yes. She's smarter than you, Evelyn. I've been telling you that from day one. She's smarter than you. And the thing about it is that she's smarter than the people that is creating the show. Shawnee can't take it. She left like a coward. You're not going to destroy me and think I'm just going to sit there and lie and take it. And that's what exactly is going on with OG. You want her to lie down and to take it. And she's refusing to. So you're lost there. I can't wait till the season is over. Allegedly, next week is going to be the season finale. I hope so. And I hope they don't come back for next season. I hope they get canceled because it's just like, I don't even know. It really goes to say a lot about these production companies or like, you know, VH1, that they will go this far to try to make one person look a certain kind of way because they can. Just hard. All right, you guys, thank you for watching my latest recap on the latest episode of Basketball Wives. Hopefully, I'll see you next week. Ciao.